In ancient Igbo land, in the region we now call Imo State, there lived a man whose greatest crime was being blessed. His name was Obinna. He was not a warrior, not a chief, not the richest man in the village, but his barns were full, his household was peaceful, and his 7 daughters were unlike any children the land had ever seen. People said the gods had painted each one differently. The first was morning sun. Wherever she stood, warmth followed. Crops seemed to lift their heads when she passed. The second was evening moon. Calm. Watchful. When quarrels rose, her voice lowered them. The third, yam leaf, had fingers that understood soil. Seeds thrived under her touch. The fourth, morning dew, moved gently, speaking little, but bringing freshness into every room. The fifth, shining star, laughed like light breaking through darkness. The sixth, blue sky, bold and open-hearted, feared nothing. And then there was the seventh, the last child. Beautiful palm oil. Her skin glowed like fresh ore poured into a clay bowl, golden, smooth, almost luminous. In the heat of midday, her arms shimmered softly. In the cool of evening, she looked carved from sunlight. From the time she could walk, her mother warned her, stay away from strong fire. Do not stand long under the harsh sun. Palm oil must never be left too close to heat. The villagers smiled at this. They thought it was a mother's exaggeration, until jealousy entered like dry season wind. One night, a wealthy elder's barn burst into flames. By dawn, ashes covered the earth. Before smoke even faded, whispers had already chosen a culprit. Obinna, no proof, only envy. At the village square, the king listened as accusations rose like sparks. The wealthy elder spoke with wounded pride. Others nodded. Fear and influence weighed heavier than truth. By sunset, judgment fell. Obinna and his entire household were banished to the evil forest, the place where criminals were sent and never seen again. No one expected them to survive. But they did. The forest, thick with towering trees and heavy silence, did not devour them. Instead, it tested them. Morning sun warmed small patches of cleared land. Yam leaf discovered fertile soil hidden beneath roots. Morning dew preserved crops from drying. Evening moon guided them safely through night. Blue sky read storms before they arrived. Shining star kept hope alive when fear crept in. And beautiful palm oil remained protected, always shaded, always shielded by her sisters when the sun grew fierce. Years passed. Back in the village, truth finally broke through lies. The wealthy elder confessed he had burned his own barn to destroy Obinna's name. Shame spread like wildfire. The king removed his sandals and walked barefoot into the forest to beg forgiveness. Obinna refused once, refused twice. But on the third plea, for the sake of peace, he agreed to return. To honor him, the king declared a feast. 7 daughters. 7 days of celebration. It felt like destiny. For 6 days, the village shook with joy. Drums thundered through the air. Yams were pounded until arms trembled. Goats roasted over open flames. Palm oil flowed in abundance, turning soups golden. Each daughter played her role. Morning sun helped control the cooking heat. Evening moon calmed disputes among workers. Yam leaf organized harvest deliveries. Morning dew washed vegetables with delicate care. Shining star entertained children with songs. Blue sky supervised arrangements with fearless confidence. Beautiful palm oil stayed in shaded corners, grinding spices and slicing vegetables, far from flame. For 6 days, all was well. Then came the 7th day, the final day, the day pride would undo what exile could not. At dawn, the 6 elder sisters were sent to the farm to gather fresh vegetables for the grand finale. Adako followed to oversee the harvest. Beautiful palm oil remained behind alone in the compound. By midday, chaos filled the cooking arena. The crowd was larger than expected. Fires roared hotter than before. One of the main cooks collapsed from exhaustion. A voice rang out through smoke. "Where is Obena's youngest daughter? She only shines and hides." Another woman scoffed. "Let her prove herself." Beautiful Palm Oil stepped forward slowly. "My mother said, today is celebration." An elder snapped. "Will you dishonor your father by refusing to serve?" The eyes of the village fixed on her. To refuse elders was shameful. To obey meant stepping into heat she was never meant to endure. She chose obedience. The firewood cracked loudly as he approached. Heat rose like invisible hands wrapping around her skin. She lifted the heavy wooden spoon and began stirring the enormous pot. At first nothing happened, then her glow deepened. A woman laughed. "See how she shines brighter." But the shine changed. It became liquid. A golden drop slid from her wrist to the ground. It sizzled softly. Another followed. Her breathing grew shallow. Her fingers softened against the spoon. The edges of her arms blurred in the rising heat. Someone stepped back. "What is happening to her?" The sun stood high overhead. The flames leapt higher as wood shifted beneath the pot. Her shoulders began to lose shape, not collapsing, not burning, but melting, like oil placed too close to fire. She tried to step away, but the heat surrounded her. Within moments, her form dissolved into shimmering gold. Her voice faded like steam. And then silence. Where she once stood, a pool of rich, golden palm oil soaked into the earth. The drums stopped mid-beat. Smoke drifted upward. But no one moved. When her sisters returned from the farm, they saw the extinguished fires. They saw the crowd standing in stunned quiet. They saw the earth darkened by oil. Morning sun screamed first. Evening moon fell to her knees. Morning dew wept without sound. Blue sky looked upward, searching for clouds that were not there. Adaku's cry echoed beyond the compound walls. Obina stood still for a long time. Then he said softly, "We survived the evil forest, but not the heat of our own people." The king ordered the feast ended immediately. No one ate from the final pot. For many seasons, nothing grew in that patch of earth. Then one year, tall palm trees sprang from that very spot, stronger and richer than any before. And from then on, elders told this story by moonlight. They would say, "Not every child is built for fire. Not every softness is weakness." And sometimes, the true evil forest is not in the wilderness, but in the crowd that forces you to burn to prove your worth. And when palm oil rises to the top of soup, shining above all else, the old ones still whisper, "Truth rises," and so did she.